was always on the road for work and always stopping at rest stops for showers and to park to rest. My semi is my pride and joy. I spent a lot on it, from the truck itself to the luxuries in the inside. I wanted to create a home on the road, because 90% of my month was spent in that truck. I didn't like to spend a lot of time inside those truck stops. I would mostly shower and get out of there. I liked cooking, so I spent a little extra on expensive gadgets to create a makeshift kitchen in the cab of my truck so I could have home-cooked meals while I was gone. One particular weekend, I pulled into a truck stop to grab a shower and relax. I actually had 2 days off, which was rare for me. My routes recently changed, and this wasn't one of my usual truck stops, so I was curious to find out what it had to offer. I paid for my shower and headed in, ready to wash the day off. As I was finishing up, the water went ice cold. I hopped out of the stall so quickly, I didn't even care if anyone was around to see me before I grabbed my towel. Cursing the truck stop's old plumbing, I made it back to my truck. I had a roast and vegetables going in the crock pot all day, and I was ready to chow down. I didn't waste any time looking around inside because I just couldn't wait to have dinner. As I was eating, I was reading about this particular rest stop on my app, and I was surprised to see reviews about people having paranormal experiences here. I didn't really buy into or believe in the paranormal. At a newer truck stop, what would be haunted about a truck stop anyway? Now I realize how naive those thoughts were. After I cleaned up my dinner mess and headed in to use the restroom, I decided to check out the gas station part. I always bought my niece a keychain from every new truck stop I visited. I started to notice little trinkets and books on the shelves about hauntings and the haunted history of different places in this town. Okay, they really take this haunted thing seriously around here, I thought. Back in my truck, I laid down and put on the Packer game I'd missed earlier in the week. About an hour later, I heard a knock on my cab door, so I made my way over. Confused because I knew I was parked legally, so no one should be coming over to tell me to move. I swung the door open, but no one was there. In fact, I was the only one over on the side of the lot. Everyone else that was here was over on the other side, and there wasn't much movement in their vehicles, if any. It was weird, but it wasn't so weird that it raised suspicion, so I went back to watching the game. I've made it a habit on my journey to getting healthy to take a walk each night before bed. I've found that I sleep better and my dinner digests better. Plus, I'm out walking and not shoving potato chips and Sprite in my face. This particular night, the weather was perfect for a walk around the rest stop. I didn't have a particular route to walk at this one since I'd never been to it, so I figured I'd just make a loop through both lots. As I was halfway through the far lot, I heard a twig snap in the wooded area to the right of me. I wasn't one to scare easily, but it did startle me because the place had been so still and quiet. I picked up my pace a bit after that, just in case there was someone lurking around. Some truck stops could be dangerous. I didn't get that vibe from this one, but you just never know. About halfway back up the loop to my truck, I again heard rustling, and when I turned my head to the right, there was a shadowy figure that darted into the trees. Startled, I hurried back and locked the door to my cab behind me. It was a bit creepy that someone was just lurking around dressed in all black in the parking lot at night, but you see so many strange characters when you're out on the road, so I didn't really read far into it. But later, I was woken by a knock on my cab so loud that I jumped. I put one hand on my side to make sure my protection was there if I needed it. Making my way to the door, I paused for a second before opening it. But again, there was no one there. This time I was angry. "Enough," I yelled. "Show yourself," I yelled, stepping outside. I saw the same figure from before, standing in the distance near a white car. "Okay, what do you want? You obviously want something," I said. All of a sudden, in a super fast movement, the figure literally disappeared into the white car. And when I say disappeared into it, I mean without opening the door. He entered the car. I've never in my life witnessed something like what I was seeing right in front of me. I flew back into the cab of my truck and sat down to take a breath. It had to be a ghost, I thought out loud. And that was the first time I have ever witnessed a paranormal occurrence. As I read more reviews, others said the same thing. They would see a male figure dressed in black get into a vehicle. The next day, I went in and bought the book about hauntings in the area. I knew once I was done with it, my niece would love it. Apparently, about 10 years prior, right when this truck stop was built, a man was found deceased in his car, and since, people have been seeing him in the parking lot, getting into vehicles, as if he was trying to leave. Thank you, Roger, for sharing your experience with us. It must have been so chilling to learn the story behind the figure you saw. He must get into vehicles trying to leave as if he's still alive, and I hope he finds peace someday and stops lingering around the rest stop. If you have a paranormal experience to share for an upcoming video, email it to the address in the description below like Roger did. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, see you tomorrow, friends.